One-Up Nitro National Series has been on quite a roll as of late, with a first-time winner in several races this season. Could we see another one here today at the circuit Trois Rivieres up in Quebec in Canada? One-Up's only street race of the campaign, and it is race number 12 of the 2025 Nitro National Series season. And alongside me to bring you all the action, back with us this week is Duke Ansack once again for another great Nitro National Series race. And boy, this one is going to be all about attrition. The walls are everywhere here. It is going to take a lot for these 42 drivers to get through 31 laps here unscathed.
Absolutely. And street courses are just usually like that. You got walls, just like you said, everywhere on both sides. We're racing on city streets here. I mean, it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be rough. We're going to have some potholes in the course. We're having different types of surfaces all the way around this track. We've got painted lines pretty much everywhere you look. I mean, this place is treacherous. So these drivers are going to have a lot of trouble getting around this place. It's going to take a lot of focus, a lot of skill, and that makes it a mental race as well. So, a challenge from all sides, keeping the car on the track, because if you can't, you're going to be in the wall, and keeping your mind in check and sharp for the entirety of this race. It's going to be two big challenges for the drivers today.
Add another challenge in there with 2 pit stops on the cards for this race. A lot is going to be on the minds of these 42 drivers as they take on the twists and turns of Quebec. Quick look at the top 20 overall after race 11 at Eagle Point that saw AJ Zhao get his maiden win at long last. He jumps up now to only 17 points below the cut line. And speaking of that cut line, it is as tight as can possibly be between Yadis Terzic and Alexa Lucian. They are tied on that cut line. Terzic gets the tiebreaker because he has a win this season. Lucian does not yet, but with the 31 car starting on pole position today, that could very easily change.
Yeah, it definitely could. And I mean, this is such a versatile situation here with the point standings. I mean, everybody is really, really close. Don't let that 17 plus and 17 minus deceive you, because that can change very quickly. We've seen it already, even this season, swing huge in just one race. So not a lot of races left, and we've just, you got to keep finishing well if you want to stay in that top 12. It is not easy to stay within that top 12, especially if you're pretty much anywhere behind, I don't know, 4th or 5th, really. I mean, that is going to be a huge, huge challenge and something to really watch today because of how treacherous the circuit is that we're racing on.
And now that we've gotten through all that, we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 31 laps of racing action. And as we stated, Alexa Lucian on pole position, her first of the season. And this is honestly where her comeback into one-up competition started last year. She started this race last year for Crossroads Racing. Didn't go the way that Lucian had hoped, but she is back in a full-time capacity with the same team, ready to put it in victory lane. But if there was ever a fierce competitor alongside Lucian for the start, she has one. Jake McMillan lines up second. He's already got a win this season. He'd love to add a second one, and he's leading the points over Braden Varga, who starts all the way down in 18th place. So the 21 has the opportunity to make some real noise in this race, as well as the guy in 3rd place, Terzic, in the 10. They entered this race with nothing separating them, Lucian and Terzic, and now they start nose to tail.
Yep, it always seems to work out that way, doesn't it? The people that you really, really need to beat are going to be right there with you for the whole race. We'll keep our eyes close and peeled on that battle, just like all the others here on the track today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think that this is going to be a really, really great race to watch, and I'm excited to see how the strategy works out with 2 pit stops. It's fairly unusual for this series, so it's going to be a ton of fun to see.
So with that being said, we have 42 cars ready to take on the streets of Trois Rivieres, and we're ready to bring you that action now. It's the One-Up Nitro National Series from Quebec in Canada, and the green flag getting set to get this great race underway, so stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss a second of what's to come today. Getting set for what could be quite an intense race here on the streets of Quebec. It is McMillan on the outside, Lucian on pole on the inside, green flag, we're racing in the streets, and Lucian gets a great jump off the line. She's going to lead handily in the turn one. McMillan's going to try and fight it back as best he can, but he has to settle in. Oh, he gets a bump from the back from Terzic in the 10.
Boy, yeah, and it's really going to be tight through here in this section. I mean, you can already see just how close it is, and look, we got one in the wall. It's the 10 car, Terzic again, and that's just going to be more and more trouble for that car. Look at everybody else, too wide all the way through. That is very impressive that they all made it through that way, but look at Lucian so far ahead at this point.
Yeah, everybody's making it through. Terzic has lost a couple spots. Oh, Gutierrez into the wall, coming back up the track, into Meski. This is going to be rough. Into Lassard, into Nomina. Cooper involved. A big pile up and down the straightaway. This is going to be a track blocker for sure. A severe crash that's sent 3/4 of the field gone to a standstill.
Wow, and you know, this is going to really cause issue because everybody needs to get through. We're not going to throw a yellow for this. It's just, they just don't happen here at road courses, and this is really bad for the 3 car. That's a playoff contender on the cut line. This is a total disaster for that team, and then everybody else who's up front at this point has a massive advantage over everybody because they were all stopped on the track for so long.
And look, there's Angel Gutierrez. We talked about him. He was 33 points above the cut line. He's in trouble. We'll see if he's able to carry on in this race or not. You see Aiden Clare in the pits. Cayman Lassard, this is a home race for him. He was looking forward to performing well in front of his home crowd. Started 11th today, and he's not going to get to finish the first lap. But back at the front of the field, Lucian holds the lead. But look, only about 12 cars were able to make it through that without slowing down.
Wow, that is really has changed the race here. Look at all these cars on the pit lane with a bunch of damage.
Yeah, there's Joseph Shrigley in the 63, another home Canadian driver looking to make some noise in his first start at home. He is going to be out on the first lap as well. Brandon Smith backing up with a lot of damage. Nikki Martinez filling in for Justin Henley, having to make it her way around. But up at the front, we've already completed 2 laps, surprisingly, but it's Alexa Lucian who's led them both, and the gap ahead of the 21 is just about a second.
Yeah, it is, and I'll tell you what, the 21 in the first half of the last lap, McMillan closed that gap up a little bit, but then the 31 was able to kind of extend it a little bit in the second half of the lap. That's just something we'll have to keep our eye on for the remainder of this race. Those 2 battling is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
As we make our way now through the top 10, Mac Johnson running 10th, Braden Vargrove, a new look on his car this week. He runs in 12th, but you look all the way back here, this has caused a huge shuffle in the field. Jared Schenk started down in 27th. He's now in the top 15, and you can count a lot of good cars who have faced issues today, and conversely, a lot of cars who started out back found their way through the carnage and got lucky.
Yeah, it was really an odd situation where you kind of just want to be farther back for that moment, because if you're farther back, you have more time to react, you have more time to slow down, everybody can get around you, and then you just sit there and wait and hope that nobody hits you from behind, and a lot of people got very lucky.
Yeah, there's Skylar Taylor. He might have had another incident of his own. Already been announced he will not be back with this team next year, and that's him out of the race. Brendan Smith in the pits assessing repairs on the 92. This has just been a chaotic start to this race, and I have a feeling that we're not quite done with the attrition just yet.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, look at this track. You can just see how narrow it truly is. I mean, you could fit 3 wide a little bit, but you certainly can't through the corner. So it is just a really, really tight space to make race cars go through. And I'll tell you what, we're so far in this race, we've lost a lot of cars, so it spread everybody out a little bit, but that does not make this circuit any easier. It's still the same amount of difficulty. Look at this. We've got a car. This is impacting the leaders right now. It's the 30 car going into the pit lane with a lot of damage and smoke coming out of the car, and we got one ahead as well.
That's Terzic. Terzic pits from 4th place. He's got a problem. David Meski, likewise, from about 9th place. He's pitting. So a lot of cars suffering a lot of damage. We saw Jacob Buchholz, Lucian's teammate. He's going to be out of the race. Mike Edwards was on pit road. This has been a level of attrition. We expected some, but I was not expecting quite this much.
No, certainly not. I mean, and we saw Terzic was the first one in this race to have an issue from right in the start, right in the front of the pack. A little bit of bumping with that car, and then a little bit of hitting of the tire barrier. Oh, and look at this, the 7.
That's Kanauka in the 7, running third place at the time. Their engine has just detonated down the east side of the course, and that's going to be Kanauka out of this race. And that's a big shame because Kanauka was running in third place at the time, on pace for a decent run. But man, oh man, if it's not a big crash wiping out a lot of cars, it's mechanical retirements. This is going to be the 7's day done.
We have had enough drama in this race for the entirety of the race, and it's only lap 5. I mean, this is just unbelievable what's been going on here. There's just something in the air today, I guess, and we still, through all of this, have a little bit of a battle for the lead. It's less than a second between the top 2.
And don't forget that car up ahead, Jensen Nomina in the 62. He was involved in that stack up at the start of the race. He came down pit road for repair work. Now he is going to be a thorn in the leader's side once they catch up to him, which shouldn't take very long considering the pace difference between the 62, the 31, and the 21. But yeah, you see Buchholz out of the race, Taylor out of the race, Knauk is going to be out of the race. We've got at least 6 retirements in only the first 5 laps.
Yeah, this is very not the way I was expecting this race to go. I mean, you could always expect a little bit of chaos at a street course, you know, especially one as tight as this with walls just everywhere. You know, there's really nowhere to hide. But that is a lot of chaos for the very beginning of this race.
Yeah, and I see another one on pit road. That's the 26, it looks like, of Austin Liang, another Canadian driver running into trouble at home. But Lucian so far has led all 6 laps so far, about to lead lap number 6. And it's going to be tough because Jake McMillan has kept that lead pretty consistent at about 3/4 of a second. So it all depends on how Lucian is going to fare getting around this 62.
Yeah, and you know, this 31, I wouldn't be shocked if it took a little while to get past because it's just so tight here, you know, and now Lucian is learning what that car is going to do in the dirty air, and just, you know, having somebody right in front of you makes it a little bit different with the handling and everything, and we'll see how it plays out. You know, if this slows everybody down, it could allow a lot more drivers who are farther back in the pack to kind of gain on them, close in, pack the pressure right before the pit stop. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we look for a moment at Jared Schenk in that 95. He was having a strong run up in the top 10. It is that 95, as Lucian has cleared Nomina now to put him a lap down. McMillan's got to do the same now, as Martinez and Varga both on pit road assessing damage they've sustained in this race.
Yeah, you know, it's just a little bit early for that first pit stop. You're kind of looking at going about 10 laps or so on this you know, stint of the race here, because it just splits it in 3. So, you know, you might want to pit lap 9, you might want to pit lap 11, but either way, this is just a little bit early for that first pit stop.
Yeah, but they might be trying something to see how long they can stretch that middle stint out, maybe. Sure. See how far they can go. Because Varga had the fastest lap of the race at the time of his pit stop. So we have 8 cars within 7 seconds of each other. Then you got to go back 20 seconds to find 9th place Andrew Langley, as McMillan now gets past Nomina. Now this is going to be a true test, because next up for Nomina to get lapped by is his teammate Cameron Brennan, but he's not going to be teammates with him for much longer. Nomina's leaving this team at the end of the year, and Nomina is not making it easy for his teammate, who's not going to be his teammate at season's end.
Wow, really close right there, but now it's going to have the inside lane is the 86, so down to the inside. Oh, not quite going to clear, and they're going to stay side by side down our main straightaway here.
That's going to hurt. But yeah, Brennan does finally clear, but he's lost a lot of time. He's lost a full second on that last lap to the leader. I don't think Jensen Nomina is doing himself many favors at Sanders Performance Autosport right now. That is for sure. But up at the front, Alexa Lucian has led every lap so far with a decent-sized margin over Jake McMillan. As it looks like, well, we got a huge train of cars back here at the moment. That is a lot of cars trying to find their way through. As, yeah, like we said, Braden Varga have a new look on his car, but he's got a lot of damage to negotiate. As Will Parrish, I think, was about to come down pit road. We've got a lot of different storylines to look into throughout the course of this race. We're not nearly going to have enough time to cover every incident.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that is a really, really tough break for Braden Varga, because sitting second in points right now, only 9 points behind the 21, who is in second place at this point, and the 9 has been in the pit for quite a while. It looks like maybe leaving now. Oh no, still sitting in the pit lane, so that's going to be a really, really tough blow for the 9 car, along with the 29 and the 62. They are all, I mean, none of them are in the top 10 or even close right now.
Not to 00 or to 28, so...
Yeah, so McMillan is going to...
And Brandon Smith's already a couple laps down for good measure. The next guy in points in the top 10 would be Ryan Arnold, who entered this race 8th in points. He's 7th on the road right now.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, Jake McMillan, assuming that 21 car can stay up in second place or close, maybe even in the top 5, is going to gain a large points advantage for the lead of our regular season standings coming out of this race. That is a huge day for Jake McMillan. So right now, I think the goal for that team is to just keep it on the road and keep a solid finishing position. Of course, you want to try to win this race, but you really need to just stay on the road. And look at this, the 86 has caught up to them after that trouble getting by the lap car.
But should we really be surprised? Should we really be surprised, considering this is Cameron Brennan we're talking about? He's a road course wizard, and he won on a road course earlier this season at Hawaii. So this 86 he's got 3 career wins in this series. 2 of those have come on the road, and I would not put it past him to try and get his 4th career win here today. But he's got to get past 2 really good cars to make it happen.
Yeah, and you have to think about the implications of winning this specific race after all those cars have had those big issues right around the cut line and even higher. Cameron Brennan, only 45 points outside of the cut line. Going into this race, you don't look at that number and think that he's within 1 or so races of being right in the mix. But now, if he were to go out there and win, and we've got all these cars having big issues today, boy, Cameron Brennan could be right there in the picture.
The problem he's facing, though, is that the 2 guys directly ahead of him, AJ Zhao and Eric DeMax, are right behind him in this race, running 4th and 5th. So, gonna be tricky. But
surprised nobody's leading.
Yeah, we might see him try and go a little long here. As Benjamin Snyder, he's got a lot of damage on that 82 car. That might be his race over, and that's a big shame for him. But however, if these guys, they may be trying to stretch their fuel out. If they can try and make it to perhaps lap 15, they can try and make it on 1 stop.
That is fascinating. If you only make it, you only need to go 3 or 4 more laps at this point to be able to do that. It's a big stretch, though.
Yeah.
It would be fascinating to see. But the other thing is, if you can go a little bit long on your first 2 stints of this race and go short on that last one, you don't have to be in the pit stall for as long to take so much fuel. So there could be a little bit of that strategy going on as well.
And the thing is, this isn't a track that's really too heavy on tires. There's no real long, fast corners. It's all hard braking zones and quickly accelerating out of them. It's kind of a point and squirt kind of racetrack. So it's getting to that point where I know the tires aren't going to mean a lot, but at this point in time, they got to be thinking about the tires a little bit, because they're running about 2 seconds off what they were running earlier.
Yeah, I would think that, if they aren't going to make it to that lap 15 or 16 mark, you would really think about, especially if you're Cameron Brennan right here, think about making a pit stop now, a little bit sooner. Try to jump these guys in the pits, because that might be the easiest way to pass. And at this point, we're watching the 12 car starting to gain some time on our leaders and catch up, and then all of a sudden you've got 4 cars involved in this fight for the lead that we have. So I don't know, I'd be considering pitting pretty soon, assuming you can't make it to the halfway point.
Yeah, and McMillan gets pretty close to the barrier there out of the exit of turn 4 there. But what I'm worried about is, these 3 are racing each other pretty hard for the lead, and the tires are fading quite quickly. Brennan, I think he might try and stay out, get a bonus point for leading a lap here. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Tegan Fox, though, is on pit road in the 44. Ryan Reed's in. He was just outside the top 10, so we've got a couple takers now, but our 3 leaders have all stayed out.
I like that move. You know, if you do the same thing that the leaders do, you're just going to follow the leaders. So I think that if you're a little bit farther back, I'd even consider. Whoa! I'd even consider doing it if I was in fourth or fifth or sixth right now, just 3, 4, 8 seconds back. You know, I would consider making that pit stop right now and trying to just go hard for the rest of the way. No saving. Just try to get yourself into the picture here, and possibly make yourself have a chance.
One thing I'm worried about, though, specifically concerning Alexa Lucian, we've seen this in years past here at this circuit. The number one pit stall you get for winning the pole here is not as advantageous as many other places, because there's this wall that juts out right as you're exiting the pit lane, our past pole sitters here have often hit that wall, and they've taken quite a lot of damage from it. I'm curious if that's going to happen here, but it looks as though Lucian and McMillan come in, and then, as I expected, Brennan stays out.
Okay, so Brennan now is going to be the only one, unless the 12 stayed out as well. But Brennan is going to be. Okay, they're going to be the only ones on this strategy where you might be able to make it to the end of the race. That's just, I think that's one lap too early for our current leaders, the 31 and the 21. So we'll see. They're going to be fast on this, but I think that they're going to have to make another pit stop in this race. So I don't know if I would have waited that long. If you weren't going to make it, I don't know if I would have waited. We're going to see if Lucian is able to get out of the pits without hitting that wall. Hopefully it all works out here.
Well, we're about to find out, because Lucian's done in service, pulling out of the pit lane. McMillan's falling behind. But Lucian's definitely going to hit that wall. Yep, there it is. No. Just a little bit of damage on the 31. Hopefully it doesn't slow her down too much. But she did get out ahead of the 21. That was her first concern. Now she's got to click off some good time to try and jump the 86 and the 12 as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that those cars are certainly going to pit on this lap. I'd be shocked if they could go a lap longer.
They're coming now.
12 is coming in too. So, all right. So now they're going to pit, and they are going to cross lap 16. So they are beyond halfway in this race.
They're about to hit halfway. They would have had to go another lap to hit halfway, but they're really close. And I don't know. This is going to be close for Brennan and Zhao, but it's worth a try, because both of these guys are outside of the playoff cut line. Zhao 17 points out, Brennan 45 out. So the 86, he needs to try something.
Yeah, this is, and now that the leaders have done something slightly different than this, I think that this is a very good move. And the other thing is that you just got that extra lap. Oh, there's the 31, and look at that. Cameron Brennan with the clean air has been able to jump into the second position, and now with slightly fresher tires for this run, but gonna have to save to try to make it all the way to the end of this race. Boy, this is going to be a fascinating one with a mixed strategy bag for the final half of the race.
And how about the Max as well? He jumped his teammate Zhao in the process to move himself up to the fourth position. I did notice, though, that 21 also had a lot of damage on the side of that car. So
I wonder if there's some wall contact.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid here, but. Yep. So far,
especially on your outlap cold tires.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So far, Lucian's at least gotten the first hurdle out of the way. She's held on to the lead for now, but I would expect Brennan to mount a challenge now that his tires are getting slowly warmed up, and he's got a lap fresher on his tires than this 31.
Yeah, I think that this really, in the next few laps here, is going to show how much better that 86 car is, in terms of conditions of the tires and everything else. And we also saw that 86 car have a lot of speed in that first run of the race. So I think that Brennan, in a really, really good spot right now, only has one car to pass to get out front. But remember, that car needs to be saving a little bit of fuel to try to make it all the way to the end.
And here's the thing. I really don't think Lucian's going to be able to save the fuel to make it. But the question becomes, does anyone try? I know we said Brennan and Zhao went to lap 15, but I don't know. McMillan into the wall out of that corner there. That's going to hurt him a little more. But my question becomes, for the 86, it's tough to calculate, because what Lucian and co are thinking is that Brennan's going to try and make this a one-stop race. What if he doesn't do that? What if he jumps in, say, in about 7 to 8 laps and catches them all by surprise?
you know, the 86 Cameron Brennan right now, they hold all the cards, that team, and they're able to really kind of control the rest of this race as far as strategy goes. I mean, if you're gonna pit again as the 86 car, certainly you need to do it before them. I think that you need to jump into the pit lane, get your fresh tires, get out on track and clean track, and execute a good undercut. And we just saw the overcut work a little bit, but I think it had to do with a little bit of wall contact from the 21, and we saw from the 31 as well making some wall contact. I think that was part of why that overcut worked so well. So if you're Cameron Brennan, I think you need to pit earlier than everybody. And wow, McMillan is just continually hitting that wall lap after lap.
And it's brought the Max right onto his tail as well. But going back to the Brennan situation, you can't afford to make that decision too late either, because you need to leave yourself enough laps to make this work. And keep in mind, the 30... Oh, we got contact further ahead. We got Wyatt O'Quinn with a lot of damage. Anthony McClure with smoke pouring out of the back of the 54. Oh, and Zhao gets hit by Wyatt O'Quinn. That's going to cost the 12 at least 2 or 3 spots on the road. And, oh, Ryan Arnold just barely missed that wall in the chicane. We've seen people get hit by that in races past here.
Yeah, this is a disaster for everybody third on back right now, and even the 86 got impacted a little bit as far as time goes. Oh my gosh, this has been a chaotic race, and the 16 almost just slid up into the wall.
But he did make that pass on McMillan, which is important. That moves the Max into a podium position. However, going back to what I was saying before that incident happened, Lucian's used up one of her 3 strikes here in this race by hitting that pit wall. I don't know if Lucian can afford doing that again, because if that does happen again, the damage might be too significant.
Yeah, we see how the 21 car is just losing speed lap after lap because of all that damage from hitting the wall several times. I mean, the car can only take so much. And you're right, that 31 already has hit the wall once, and we'll see what happens if another pit stop were to occur. I'm pretty sure that Lucian definitely has to make another pit stop, but I guess we'll find out and we'll see. It's going to be close.
And one thing to note as well, there's a lot of lap traffic up ahead for Lucian and Brennan to navigate, and that is going to be a big problem for both of these drivers, because it's not easy to pass here, even when you're lapping people. So it's tricky. It's really difficult, and this is one of the hardest places on the circuit, on the schedule to make a pass. Well, we've seen it happen before. Surely we'll see it again. Question is, can Brennan make this pass on the track, or will he have to do it in the pit lane? Because he gained 0.3 of a second on his last lap.
I will say, if you are Alexa Lucian, you have to be looking at this right now thinking, all right, I have to make another pit stop. I'm about to get held up by all these lap cars that are racing for position. Maybe do you make that pit stop right now? You know,
you could make it. You could make it. Yeah, you could make it to the end zone here.
So I don't know. I would be considering, if I was Lucian right now, trying to make that pit stop.
Or
now.
If you're Brennan as well, if you want to pull a blinder on the 31, maybe you can wait till you get right onto the back of the 31 and then jump into the pits. That's an option. Oh, but Brennan,
he jumped down to the inside.
He tried it. He tried a move on Lucian going into turn 3. It didn't quite work that time, but it showed that the 86 is willing to make a move on the racetrack for this win.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I still am feeling like Cameron Brennan is possibly going to make it to the end of this race on this tank of fuel. I just don't know, but it's going to be close for the 86 car. I think it's possible. We'll just see, though. He's racing pretty hard, so I'm not sure if he's saving anything.
And the thing is, this has effectively become a 2-horse race. McMillan's fallen well out of contention.
Here's an opportunity.
Yeah, here's Brennan underneath at the hairpin. He's going to try and make a move on Lucian. Thinks better of it into the chicane. Can't really go side by side through here. But with Angel Gutierrez being very slow up ahead, this could be a great opportunity for this 86 if the 31 encounters trouble.
Well, there goes 31 down to the inside. Gutierrez to the outside, very cordial through that corner. Uh-oh, not cordial through here. This is a big opportunity for the 86 as the leader's still side by side with Gutierrez. Oh, and stuck on the outside again. This
Oh,
is
and
disaster.
inches from the wall. That puts Brennan now to Lucian's inside, but now Gutierrez pulls down low. That's going to hurt the 86. He's not going to want to go 3 wide into this corner, and that has just given a mulligan to Alexa Lucian's race.
Wow, that was incredible. I thought that the 86 was going to push it 3 wide right there. Probably better to not go 3 wide at that point of the track, and then gets by on the straightaway.
And just in case you thought this race was getting a bit dull, look, the Max is back in the conversation, and so is Jake McMillan. So and Sam Oskin's not that far back either in the 43. Nope. So this race is coming alive here in the late stages.
Wow, this is very interesting because we still have that kind of that carrot dangling of do we need a pit stop? When are we going to make that pit stop? Who needs to make the pit stop? I don't know what's going to happen. If I'm the 16, boy, I hope that the 16 car has been saving this whole run, because that could be the shocker of a lifetime in this race if the 16 could make it and nobody else could.
Yeah, because keep in mind the 16 pit on I think the same lap as the 31. I think it was the 12 that stayed out with Brennan. So
No, you're right.
They are similar. They are similar over at Vento Motorsport, the Dr. Pepper Empire over there. But a quick call has to be given to this 43 car, Sam Oskin. Bit of a lame duck situation with this team. The team's closing down. Oskin needs to find a new ride. He's doing a pretty good job of auditioning for it right now. He's on pace for his first top 5 of the year.
Oh, and Brennan is so fast right on the rear bumper of Lucian again in this race. This is just incredible from Brennan. So fast.
Here he comes. Here he comes. This is where it's going to be interesting. Yes. Brennan pulls in to the pit lane, coming to 8 laps to go, and this is now put a lot of pressure on Alexa Lucian, because what do you do now? Because if you can't possibly make it to the end from here, and if you try, you might lose a lot of positions if you run out, but if you pit now, the 86 is ahead of you.
Yeah, you really got to put together some really, really good laps right now if you're Alexa Lucian, especially at least this lap. I think you might just have to answer right here. I know that this 31 car cannot make it to the end of the race on fuel because of when they made that pit stop. This team brought the 31 in on lap 14. That was not quite halfway. They can't make it all the way to the end. Oh man, I don't know. This is so difficult. Cameron Brennan that was a great move from Cameron Brennan to make that pit stop right there. I think that, so back to the conversation about the 12 possibly making it to the end, same pit lap as Cameron Brennan, that would still, I think, be, here's the big moment, staying out. Okay, going to try to set some more laps. I think as soon as Lucian gets to the 77 is when this car is going to pit. But if the 12 could make it to the end on fuel, wow, that could be a race-winning move.
It could, because at this point, if you pit now, you're not going to be able to make that time up on the racetrack. There's too few laps. There's too few passing opportunities. However, if you just got to hope that other car runs out of gas. Oh man, they're almost 3 wide through into turn 2 between Daniel Arnold and AJ Zhao. Mac Johnson entering the conversation as well. We've got a lot of cars under a blanket here. The 01, the 12, and the 18. That's the battle for 3rd place at the moment.
86 is about 26 seconds behind our leader right now. So we'll see. Yeah, we're about to get a view.
And keep in mind, Eric. Yeah, keep in mind as well, though, Eric DeMax pit on the previous lap, so he is also in the same situation now as the 86. And a quick call as well to that 11 car, Tyler Resendez. He started this race down in 40th with that chaos at the start. He quickly jumped up into the top 15. He's running 10th with just a handful of laps remaining as Lucian goes for another lap.
Wow, I don't know. This is fascinating to me. So the only thing is that Lucian has this play where you take a little bit less fuel on that last pit stop. That pit stop is just a little bit quicker, and maybe that offsets the amount of time that the 86...
Do you take tires on that stop as well?
If you get close enough to the end, maybe you don't have to, but you're going to be at that tire disadvantage. So, I don't know. I think it depends
how hard it is to pass here.
Yeah, it depends on how far up the road the 86 gets. So, just gained on that lap about a second. So, I don't know.
He's going to catch the 8 and the 20, though, and those two haven't pitted yet. This is going to be close. Lucian, I think, We're coming to 5 laps to go this time. If Lushan's going to make a stop, I think it's going to be best to probably do it now and give yourself enough laps to either fend off the 86 or charge after him. We're about to find out because this is the last corner before the pit lane. And yes, here she comes in right now.
Here's the big moment. So the 86 was 25.3 seconds back last time by. So that's about how far it is right now. We're going to watch to see.
Yeah, 21 stays out to get a bonus point for leading a lap. But this is going to be the main moment of this race. Can Brennan jump the 31, who, remember, has that #1 pit stall, and that's not the best thing to have here.
That wall just a little bit in the way, so we're going to see. We're going to watch for that 86 car.
Looks like it's just the left side tires only on this pit stop for Lushan.
2 tires, a little bit of fuel. I don't know.
I think she might have taken 4. Oh, no, she didn't. Oh, but hit the wall again. That might be strike 2 for Alexa Lushan, who, regardless of whether she hit that wall or not, has been jumped by Cameron Brennan, who now leads this race. He's going to lead this race. There are a couple cars ahead that have yet to make their final stop, but Lushan now is going to have about 4.5 laps to erase the deficit and get back past him.
Yeah, the only big question we have is the 12 car going to make that pit stop? The 12 car pitted on the same lap during that first stop as Cameron Brennan. We thought there was a chance that those two would be able to make it to the end of the race on just that one pit stop. We're not totally sure how much, if any, the 12 has saved. So we're keeping an eye on the 12 car, but I don't know. Cameron Brennan is maybe close enough to possibly get to the 12 car with a little bit of help from everybody in front of him pitting. So there you go.
Well, let's see if the 12 is one of those cars as well. Yeah, the 95's in, the 8, the 20, the 5 are all in. Yeah, Zhao did pit on that lap with McMillan and everyone else. So there's the fuel question gone. We know everyone can make it now. Brennan will assume the lead of the race, and we only have 4 laps to go. Question becomes, can Lushan erase 3 seconds and get past the 86 in just 4 laps?
I don't know. The 86 has been so fast today, and without any damage that we can see on that car. Maybe a little a bump and a scratch here and there, but not quite as much as Lushan. Lushan's got some severe left side damage from hitting that wall on pit exit twice. So I think that Cameron Brennan is really in a good spot right now.
So the moral of the story is, don't get the pole at this circuit, because it will come back to bite you in the end. But well, Brennan started this race in 5th place, so he had to do a couple overtakes in this race to make it happen. And he's done a very good job at doing that. For Brennan now, he's coming to 3 laps to go. He's got some lap traffic up ahead, and one of those being his erstwhile teammate once again.
Yeah, and this is we've seen this before in this very race with these two drivers, but also just with the standard lap traffic, has slowed down, especially the 31 car, a lot in this race and allowed people to catch up very quickly. So if Brennan is to catch that lap traffic, it might not take long for the 31 to get there. However, the gap is only increasing while they're both in clean air.
Yeah, the gap's now just over 4 seconds. Brennan needs to catch the lap traffic very soon if Lushan's going to have a chance. Because keep in mind, Lushan's now got Eric DeMax right on the back of the 31. DeMax could be in position to try and challenge for 2nd place. The 16 doesn't really have a scratch on it so far today. We're coming to 2 laps to go, and Samit Oskin in that 43, he's in position to get a podium finish.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is a really good race for all of those drivers, but Brennan, DeMax, and AJ Zhao, I really think that this is a big race for them, especially Brennan, but they were all pretty far behind that cut line for the playoffs, and now they're all sitting in the top 6. You never know where they end up at the end of this race, but if it were to complete in this order, it would be really good for those 3 drivers, especially with all the issues those in front of them have had. It could really shake up this playoff standing.
And I'm starting to think Alexa Lushan is going to need a divine miracle intervention to try she's her gap's now 5 seconds, and Brennan has only just now caught the lap traffic. But remember, we saw earlier in this race, Jensen Nomina was not willing to play nice with his teammate. He was giving him a hard time. Will that continue as Brennan goes for win number 2 of the season?
Yeah, I think that we'll see right here. This is a big moment for Cameron Brennan now to the right side of his teammate, and oh my gosh, there was almost contact in the middle of the corner, but
he cleared him, but he didn't.
Wow.
He cleared him, but Nomina was not too happy about it. So,
Oh, that was crazy.
and look at this
my-
huge train of traffic Brennan's in. We're coming to the white flag right here. Brennan's dispatched Nomina. Could be a changing of the guard, perhaps, at Sanders Performance Autosport. There's going to be some internal strife in that team, I imagine. But the white flag flies. Brennan has started the final lap. We'll see what the gap is at the line between he and Lucian. It's gone down back to just over 4 seconds, but I think it's too little too late.
And now it's 4 seconds, plus you've got that one lap car in between them. I think that right now, if the 86, even if he weren't able to pass another car, which he probably will right here across green, I would be very surprised if the 31 was able to gain that much time and also make those passes.
Yeah, but we've seen people have contact with the barriers as Green does get lapped by Brennan. But we've seen people make contact with the barriers that bring a sudden end to their race. We've seen it on the final lap in races. But I think Brennan's coming through what looks to be turn 5 right now into the hairpin for the final time. And boy, this is going to be a big win for Cameron Brennan. It's going to boost him up the order in the points in a big way, and he's going to signify his status as top dog at Sanders Performance Autosport. Through the final chicane for the final time, we may be in Canada, but it's all Scotland in the air for Cameron Brennan. He takes the checkered flag and wins for his second win of the season, the 4th of his run-up career.
Wow. An absolutely fantastic run from Cameron Brennan. I mean, the pit strategy, just getting the upper hand, holding all the cards for the majority of this race, and then the surprise early pit stop in the second stint. Just a fantastic job. Team and driver executing every single step of the way. Very, very good job to beat a dominant 31 car today.
But yeah, spare a thought, though, for Alexa Lucian. Dominated this race, led the most laps 24 times. She crossed the finish line in the lead, but second place will have to do. It's still her best result of the season. It's going to jump her well above the cut line as well. Eric DeMax is going to come home in third for another podium finish for the 16. Samit Oskin fourth. That's his best result of the year so far. And Ryan Arnold, the first American across the line, in 5th place. Ahead of AJ Zhao, Mac Johnson stops the bleeding with 7th place on the road. Elijah Ironhouse likewise has a very strong run to 8th. Ahead of the 2 JHM racing cars, McMillan fell all the way back to 9th with his damage, and Andrew Langley completes the top 10. But we still have a lot to dissect, mainly concerning that massive traffic jam on the southbound and on lap number 1 that surely is going to have big implications on this championship chase, because there were so many good cars involved in that mishap.
Yeah, you're right. It happened just so high up in the field that it really just was a lot of drivers that are normally competing for wins and are right in the center of kind of our conversation for that playoff cut line and the playoff lead. So we'll see who all was involved with it just shortly here.
So Gutierrez was, I think, the start of all this. He was getting a good run down the straightaway into turn 4. Oh, but he washes up into Mac Johnson, gets into the inside wall, tries to blend back up. Meski was already there, gets into Lassard, and this is where I was holding my breath, because so many cars piling in. Joseph Shrigley up on his side, Aiden Clare likewise.
Yeah, that was a really dangerous moment, and then look at all these cars having to come to a stop. This really spread everybody out in this race. Look at that, 3 and 4 wide. You don't see that very regularly at about 25 hours.
If that, they were probably going slower than that, but
yeah,
it just goes to show you how things can turn in an instant here on a street course. Because who would have seen that coming on the opening lap? But you got to feel for guys like Shrigley and Lassard hoping for a good day at home, and it ends like this. It just ends in a pile of smoke on the opening lap. So this is where Lassard was. He actually had a good starting spot in 11th place, but
yeah, nowhere to go right here. Look at that, just collected, totally collected right there, and then a couple of big hits for that 0 car. Wow.
Yeah, see, my question is, how in the world did the 72 and the 00 manage to finish this race when both cars went up in the air at multiple times on this accident?
That's some good suspension. That's street course suspension right there. They're able
Yeah,
to.
it's built to take
just
it.
keep
Built
going.
to last, and sure enough, that sure did. One final look at this, and yeah, he just gets into the side of the 18, gets him all squirrely, tries to come back up, and I don't know if they. It's hard for spotters to work here because of just the dimensions of this race course, and this is the end result when a miscommunication happens. It can collect 10, 20, 30 cars.
Yeah, and Gutierrez just coming off that wall. I mean, trying to collect that car, not spin out, and then they were already too wide to the right, and just not enough room for all those cars in that tight of a space right there. And then that's just how it worked out.
Indeed, but well, it's a tough break for all these guys. But man, those that survived they sure gave us a good show. And we're gonna take a break from the road course racing. We'll have it again in a couple weeks. But next week, we'll be back on the ovals at a brand new venue for one-up competition, the Milwaukee Mile. That is going to be a lot of fun for the Nitro National Series drivers to navigate out in West Allis, Wisconsin. That is going to be a lot of fun at the Milwaukee Mile for their debut in the one-up Nitro National Series. But until we see you there, from Duke Ansack and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for an incredibly chaotic day here in Quebec. Congratulations to Cameron Brennan for his second win of the season, the fourth of his career, and his third on a road course. It goes to show you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He is good at this type of racing, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon.